The MSI GeForce RTX 4090 Gaming X Trio, since its launch in 2022, has established itself as one of the best cards you can buy, at a price. Powering the best offering from the NVIDIA RTX 40 series, this card uses the AD102 graphics processor, coming with 16,384 CUDA cores, 24GB GDDR6X memory, and a bus width of 384 bits. It goes without saying, this card is an absolute powerhouse, and you should expect incredible performance. Starting off with the design, the card has a triple fan design with diagonal RGB lines through the middle. At the top, it features the MSI logo in RGB, along with a solid view of the chunky heatsink used to help with the thermals of this monster. The rear view has more branding, with diagonal cuts that allow for more airflow, increasing the cooling ability of the card, all of which is embedded on a sturdy metal backplate. To help with bending and flex, the card uses a die-cast anti-bending plate, which also reinforces the thermal pads. This allows cooling to reach important components underneath the plate. What's even more impressive is the sheer performance, and that's one of the important factors. Before jumping to the performance numbers, I think it's important to discuss the clock frequency of the card. The boost clock frequency in its predecessor had been known to boost to around 1900 MHz stock. However, with the Ada Lovelace architecture, this has drastically changed, with the clock speeds jumping to 2700 MHz and higher, which is a lovely sight. Getting into the performance numbers, the MSI GeForce RTX 4090 scores around 90% more than its predecessor, the RTX 3090, in 3D Mark benchmark tests. This trend continues even in other benchmarks like Unigine Superposition, Blender, and more. In terms of gaming, the RTX 4090 is able to achieve a performance boost of 40 to 45% in various games from its predecessor, while other cards don't really come close at all. Even at 4K resolutions, with all settings maxed out, the 4090 is able to output high frame rates, averaging around 150 FPS in AAA game titles. However, it is important to note that the RTX GPU is held back at 1080p, often reducing the performance difference to a minimum. With ray tracing enabled, the card is able to provide around a 3 to 4% performance uplift from the stock 4090. Looking more closely at the cooling solution, the card features MSI's Tri-Frozer 3 thermal design, using triple Tor-X fans which improve the air pressure and flow to the heatsink. Furthermore, a nickel-plated copper baseplate captures the heat dissipated from the GPU, transferring it to a number of heat pipes that are in direct contact with the baseplate. And of course, the fans use 2 sets of ball bearings to improve their lifespan without any performance hit. Finally, the acoustics level of the card remains at a minimum at all times, be it in intense gaming sessions or GPU-intensive productivity work. Now, to power a chunky boy like this, the marketed minimum requirement is an 850-watt power supply, since the card has a TDP rating of 450 watts. However, I recommend using a 900-watt PSU at the very least. In addition, you're going to need a single 16-pin 12-volt high-power connector to provide power to the card. For connectivity, the card provides a single HDMI 2.1 port with 3 DisplayPort 1.4a ports. For a high-end card like this, I think DisplayPort 2 should have been included, but this should still do the job just fine. It's pretty obvious this card is an absolute beast when it comes to performance, both in gaming and other productivity tasks. You can throw pretty much anything at it and not worry about any throttles or performance issues at all. Furthermore, with overclocking, these performance metrics can be pushed even beyond the above numbers. In short, what I like is the excellent 4K performance, the amazing cooling solution, the significant performance gains over predecessor, the incredible ray tracing performance, and the low acoustics levels. On the downside, it's missing DisplayPort 2.0 support and power consumption is a little high. Ratings: Design, 9 out of 10. Performance, 9.5 out of 10. Acoustics, 9 out of 10. Thermals, 9.5 out of 10. Value, 9.5 out of 10. For an overall rating of 9.3 out of 10.